Alright, so I'm gonna do a video today on my first day of school. So, a little tired. I did get to school on time, 5-10 minutes early, which that was a blessing. I was worried I was gonna show up 5-4 minutes late, and I really didn't want that. So I was really happy about that at least. And really happy also about completing the full day, getting an extra hour to make up for the time that I lost on Friday, and completing the SurScan registration. So I paid the fee yesterday, and I completed all the document uploads that it requested, so that they can complete that in 24 to 48 hours. It gets reviewed, and then everything's cleared on that. But they do a background check on that automatically, and then they do a drug test randomly. So while I'm there in the CNA class, they'll do a random drug test. So that whenever they call me to go do that. So anyway, I thought it was a wonderful day. There's not a whole lot of people in the class. I thought there would be more people in the class. I have a huge, broad observation, but I have to just keep it positive and just keep it formal and just keep it for class, because there's not really much I can do about it, even though it brings a lot of frustration. That I still have to leave it in the Lord. I still have to leave it in God's hands. And for those that, there's angelic, super intelligent bird that is observing and really putting a paramount of their their imprint of what really should be done. It's very healthy and understanding from my point of view, and really what's going on with this table. So I have to just keep it that way. There's something I wanted to talk about since this is my first day. Now, there's some things that really kind of, okay, so my relationship that I had with Ginger, we had sex, and when we got, done having sex, and I don't think it was the first time. It was the first couple of times, and I was thinking, because I was like, I got to get back to work, and I was kind of upset because it's like, I got to go back to work tomorrow. I'm exhausted, and I'm like pissed off because I wanted to go work out, and I did work out, right? Because sex is always a workout, but I was upset a lot of things that really didn't have nothing to do with her. And anyway, we were talking to one another like couples do after sex. Some people smoke a cigarette, whatever. We were talking on the bed, sitting up, and we were just talking. And I haven't had sex in a very long time, and God, it was a relief to be with a real woman. And anyway, there's a lot broader conversation that I could go in many directions with this, but this is what the stories I want to say is that I was speaking to Ginger, we were sitting down, and by this time I asked her, and I said, hey, I saw a picture on your Facebook, and your Facebook picture had a picture of her standing across from the World Trade Center. And I immediately said something to her about that. After maybe, I don't know, sometime after talking. And because there's a picture of her, and she's like way across. I don't know which building it was, but it wasn't the Twin Tower. It was like one of the buildings, I don't know, like a Sears Tower or something. I'm not really familiar with what monumental buildings carry what significance, other than like the Statue of Liberty, the World Trade Center, obviously, or what used to be the World Trade Center, and then some of the other buildings. But there's some other landmarks. I'm not sure, but one of them is it's a perfect clear distance from the World Trade Center, at almost like what looked like to be almost eye level. used to look, or not, maybe even, it looked like you could see it from. It was almost the same distance of the height of the towers, and it shows a picture of Ginger at the very top, and this was before the World Trade Center collapsed. And I was thinking to myself, the whole situation with my dad speaking to the president before 9/11 and all this other conspiracy shit that had happened to me. And I remember thinking to myself, to Ginger, and to Ginger, and when she said she was getting up to get something she was getting up. I don't know what it was. I don't know if it was like right when I told her, and I said, "Hey, was that you? Hey, I saw a picture. I don't know if I saw before of you across from the World Trade Center. Was that you on the World Trade Center? Because, nobody knew, obviously that was going to collapse, but to be on the top of the tower, to be not on the very top of the tower, but you're like at the ceiling. You're like all the wind, all this shit. You can fucking feel the wind. You're at the very top, and you're taking a picture. What used to be what you would have felt, what those people would have felt." And she was at the top of the tower and took this, friend picture. I don't know who she was with. It looked like maybe 2 or 3 other people. And I asked her, and I said, and she got up, and I don't know if I think she was going to go give me a condom or something. We're going to have, because, that way I can have, because she had condoms and stuff. And I didn't bring one that night, and she was going to give me a condom. And she was like walking, and she was kind of not exactly 100% all paying attention, because she was getting up to do something just at the very slight moment, We were just real casual about it, and she said that. I said, "Is that you? Was that you was that you across from the World Trade Center in that picture I saw?" And she started hyperventilating. Like, she sort of hyperventilated, like she was like, oh my God, like doing that kind of. And I immediately, she sat right next to me again, and I just kind of was thinking, and I said, there's no way that I could tell her, I can't say this to you. And I was thinking, great, I got more shit now. This isn't a good thing, and I got all this shit at my job. I was getting so much pressure. What makes me so upset? I wish there was someone that listened or something that did, but I have to have my faith in God for something that may not ever. It's very likely that extremely high chance it's not going to show up with any reward or justice, and I just have to leave that for a higher power, for a different purpose. Faith, because you're never expecting to what I want it to be. Because for me, there is no hope. There is no real hope. Because what Gary Gwynn did, you should never do to a fucking 25-year-old. You know what the fuck you're doing. I'm 42 years old. You know what the fuck you're doing whenever you're doing something like that to a 25-year-old kid, especially after cancer. I don't give a fuck. But it doesn't matter anymore. The circumstances and whatever fancy words they're going to use and what the president is ordering right now isn't going to change with the psychologists. There's no hope. There's no more hope. For me, I have to focus on the school and praise God that I will allow to be able to go to school and really get a degree, really get something just more than this. But I have to just focus on the small. As far as I know, I don't even know if I'm going to pass the test. So I don't want to get ahead of myself. I'm just going to take it day by day. But that's something that I was thinking of the last few weeks, is that when I was with her, she started hyperventilating. Like, she looked, she goes, and she sat next to me. She was like sort of doing that shit. And I looked at her, and I could feel her, like the nerves, like she was I I could feel more of what she could express on the physical outer as opposed to maybe someone trying to retain, because there's different measurements of how people distribute the energy of emotion and what they think the caliber that might be to what that really perceives to what someone else is. Because people say they're crying, they got $1 million in the bank, then you see people crying out in the really streets in 100-degree weather. Who do you think's really crying? So, but I could feel the intensity, and I remember, like, and I changed the subject to something that was positive. Like, I sort of just changed the subject, and I said something to just kind of like make it positive because she started hyperventilating, and I remember she just kind of like holy shit, like this. And so, anyway, well, for those that are taking care of her, the angels, God, it'd be important for you to know that. Blessings to her family. Because I don't know, really, I got a whole different ball game that's kind of going on with whatever, but I have to just keep it day to day. I'm glad to be in school. There's a long road ahead of me. 7 weeks is a long time from now to be in clinicals, make sure I can pass the test, and make sure I'm paying attention, because I got a lot of aggravation and things and other things that are going on that I have to, because everything, and I mean from the smallest microscopic shit that you can imagine, is that it's all infatuated, flexed, disposed, exercised, emotion fed, retracted for the collateral effect in a certain pattern, for then that later step to be an understanding, calculated with the intent by someone else because they're masterminding me. That I am going to go back to music and DJing, and what I'm going to do what they want, and the community won't got this for whatever, for the number of people. It's mastermind. It's very personal because my mother, and they got my mother all this in control. That's what the mission is, and it is because you don't have any straight people. That is why you don't have specifically women. You're not, that is exactly why. And the president is the one that's ordering this shit, and it doesn't change the fact of the circumstances. They're gonna keep pointing the finger at the president. They're gonna keep pointing. You don't understand how worthless your life is and gets disposed to people like this. And the thing is that even if it does, you have to have somebody that listens and there isn't anything. And that we're all going to die. We are all fetching out this situation. But that table does not belong to you. And that was not your dead body sister. That was not you meeting Michael Jackson. No. This is a mastermind, depending on how stupid you are and how smart someone else is and how stupid even more I am, or how dumb and how well you can calculate it, is who's going to get the profitable gains. It won't be money. It'll be more sacrifice to that understanding, to this understanding, but it doesn't change. There's always excuses that it's always in the power of someone else. So I have to just keep the mind of, thank you, Lord, God, please allow me to get a degree. Please allow me to earn, a licensed vocational nurse. Let me earn, a medical assistant at least. I don't know. Take another class after this. Just let me pass this class. Because there's just so much. So I'm not trying to get ahead of myself because I don't know. I'm not in any situation to be thinking too far ahead of my life. It is so far hard for me to try to explain to someone what's going on because nobody really gives a shit. Everyone at this age and at this point, nobody cares. Nobody cares at all. So, it's very unfair to say the least because it was what's so bad about it. It's almost kind of dynamic because it comes from such a filthy sewage of dog shit and they enjoy it. Thinks that it makes them masculine, thinks that this brings us to our honorary, like the American soldier that exploded, 314 human heads out in Iraq, and the one that didn't make it got burned alive. They just look for the fuel of the toxicity because they know my mother has a first grade education. I was talking to my mother, let me tell you, I was talking to my mother the other day, and I felt like crying because it was like, you have no idea what these people are doing to your brain and what they're doing to me and what they did. And there's no justice at all. Death is very real, and people want to love, and people want to say compassion, and they don't know how to spread that compassion evenly, and don't understand how they don't care what degree to where this came from. Ultimately, it doesn't even go to them, even when they want to do the right justice. And it's too late, So, I think it's important for me to talk about, so I have to think positive, going to go to school, get this done. I got my workbooks, so they said I could pass a class without actually taking. So what I think I'm going to do, like on a weekends or something, like on once or twice, probably like on a weekend, I'll go to like the mall and probably get something to eat and watch a movie or something for a couple. I don't know, probably not even watch a movie. Just go out there, get a couple desserts, a couple healthy shakes, and just chill for a while I get to answer some of these questions. See how I feel, and then kind of, just change things up a little bit. And the workbook has all these sort of questions, which this is an astonishing amount of questions to complete in 3 weeks. I mean, this is insane for 3 weeks. That's a lot of shit. I mean, this is for 3 weeks of 4 hours a day, and this person is just talking, and I got this. It's and then I still have to double check to see which ones are right, because it doesn't even tell me which ones, if I did get it right or not, right or wrong. So I'll have to do this on my own. So anyway, I'm going to try to probably go through this at some point, just kind of go through it, understand the questions, and it just makes me that much more better. Do I think I finish it in maybe 3 weeks? After having only Friday, Saturday, and Sunday off, and then maybe going after class to finish, or go to the library to finish up some more school? Maybe. Maybe just go and do what I can do, skim through it to make sure I could at least go through the whole book. I may not be able to answer, but at least I can go through maybe the whole book, and that could be beneficial because I can get a little bit from each chapter. I'm upset also because the first day of class, I missed out material. The person downstairs didn't tell me, and this really pissed me off because I was thinking orientation was really just going to be I thought it was going to be a lot more simple stuff because one of the students helped me copy her notes, and I was looking over the notes, and I thought to myself, why are these notes? Why are the notes? Why are these notes being? This is a lot of information that I should have. This is not just orientation. This is very important. This is very important information, and there was no reason for that. So it brings a lot of entanglement. There's a lot of concepts, things that it really upsets me. But I can't really think. I just have to think like, okay, I just have to scramble and get what I can, put it on my notepad. I still even on the weekend, I'm gonna have to go through my notes because the conversation of me handwriting notes and just taking them is I have to kind of measure it to retain the memory, and I have to be able to measure it to common sense, and then retain a certain pattern of notes on my notepad, so that I can pass the test and go over it. Because I still have to go over the notes and refine them, and then sort of categorize them. So this is important. This is important. And this is a workbook. So anyway, the individual that was telling me, most of it is common sense. I mean, I think I have a really good chance of passing it just right off the bat. That's how I feel about it. but I don't want to take any chances because when I take even more, if I take more of a class, I'm going to have to go this material anyway. So I'm going to have to go through this. So I don't know how much of this I can go through, and then I'll ask the teacher to grade it to see how that goes. They told me that the first week. Okay, so they told me the first week we have a test on the 16th, which is like, I don't even know what the 16th is right now. The 16th, I think, is like Monday. What are we on, the 9th? What is it? 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Yeah, I think that's like a Monday or Tuesday. So every Monday and Tuesday we have a test over chapters 1, 2, and 3. And this is chapters, right over here, 1, 2, and 3, and all this material. And we're going to go have a chapter test, so that's frustrating to me. So I may have to just shrink this down to going over the chapters, but I'd really like to go over this book, and then for it to be at least graded or kind of get an idea, because I'm going to have to go through over this. But it's frustrating because, if I were to go through this book right after I finish school for 4 hours, I have to go probably to the library for another probably 2 to 3 hours. And so that's like 7 hours a day of school to even get all this material in placement. So I may do that. Yeah. It's not a frustrating thing. It's just there's a lot more other stuff that's kind of going on, but I'm trying to just not worry about it. Anyway, but I got to refine my notes and sort of exercise my memory, because I felt like they were shooting these electronic devices this morning and last couple of days. It's really fucked me up and not allowed me to sort of, my brain feel like it not be as sharp as it should be. There's a lot of other stuff, psychology, this stuff that's going on and whatever it is, but I'm doing my best. So that's the plan, is just to do my best. But I got a lot of stuff. I did get a lot done today. I got to have 2 Subway sandwiches. Cherry Pepsi is really good. I know Coke Pepsi to stay away from, but yeah, and then before that, so I had to stay 1 hour I had to stay 1 hour after class every day this week to make it 4 hours to stay for it to complete. For missing a day on Monday. Today's Tuesday. So I missed 4 hours and I had to make up that time. And that's frustrating because the person at the office downstairs didn't tell me that. And I was doing everything I was supposed to do. Like I sent out all the paperwork. I sent 15 emails out. I'm calling, I did what I was supposed to do, and that's very frustrating to me. So, it sort of leaves me in entanglement, because this is a lot of material. It's a lot of shit. Because, even if I want to pass a class just to pass it, and to say I'm going to go ahead and take a phlebotomy class, probably not a phlebotomy. I'm going to go ahead and take a medical assisting class and just jump the loop. I'm going to go and just jump the loop and do a LVN class for 18 months. I'm going to, I'm just going to take, it starts with the P, practical, patient tech. I couldn't think of that. Patient tech. Patient care tech. I'm going to go ahead and take a patient care tech. That was 9-week class, I think. And so going over this material, we're probably going to go over this material again in that class, but half of it, I'm assuming, there'll be a lot of the same material we're going to be going over. But I didn't know this, but they told me that I can apply for patient care tech as a CNA. So that's a really good thing, because I wanted to work in hospitals. So that'd be really great. So I don't know, I have to kind of figure out how I'm going to do this, where I can finish my day, finish the hour to make up the time for this week, and then head to the library see how I feel, build up a healthy pattern for me to kind of go through this workbook. But I got to go through the chapters to make sure I pass the test every week. So it seems to be some sort of test. And in my opinion, I don't think the teacher goes over it very well at all. I think there could have been better structure. This individual has already been jaded several times, so there seems to be something else that's going on. But I just do the best to ignore what's important, to focus. This is kind of what's going on. There's a lot of shit that's going on, so that's that. So well, we'll see. I'm hoping I can get maybe 2-3 more hours of school every day after class to go to the library and just get some of this workbook completed. Got to do some reading, and it's a lot of material. I mean, just for a CNA, this does, to me, in my opinion, this does not seem like a CNA class. This seems much more sophisticated. But you know what she told me? Or you know what this teacher said? She said that I could pass the class just by taking notes, just like the other students, and paying attention and just paying attention to what this conversation is and go through the patterns, and I take notes and then take the test. As long as I do the clinicals and do the practice stuff in class, I could pass this, pay attention. So, but there was some other stuff that I was thinking of that, like even whenever they're talking, I'm sort of thinking about these other things that also are very important at the same time. And, so I did kind of get sidetracked a couple of times because I was sort of thinking about this other stuff that's going on at the same time, thinking and listening to something and paying attention to that information. And but I was kind of getting a little sidetracked, a little bit, because I was like, it is a simple class and easy, and sometimes when a class is easy, it's very beneficial because you can sort of have a better understanding of something else that I'm trying to sort of get a grip with and understand. At the same time, being able to listen to what's going on, because it is supposed to be a simple class. It's the CNA. This is the foundation. So there's a really great concepts to the class. We'll see how it goes. I got to try my best. Just because I'm in the class doesn't mean I'm going to pass the test. Just because I'm there doesn't mean, this is going to be, ta-da. So this is, I have to be, if that all goes through, that's just the beginning. That is my first step. Completing that class, passing the exam. That's step number one. When I get to the job site and where I work, will be a different story. Whether I take another course, will be another story. That's where the challenges begin. So I'm still waiting on the registration. So I got most of that stuff done. June 22nd is because I'm still waiting for the FAFSA, and it's just a lot of shit that they're doing. It's kind of aggravating, but all right. So that's my first day. It was a wonderful day. I'll make some other videos that I'm really thinking about, but